So we're going to open up our Google Sheets. Make sure we're signed in to Google. Go to our Drive. Start New. And then it'll drop down a menu where you will find Google Sheets. Click on Google Sheets. Now, instead of me sitting here inputting a lot of information, one thing that you can do, and I'm going to do it now because it'll be easier and faster, is you can import data. So we're going to import data. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here to File and go to Import. Okay. So I have I clicked on the file I wanted, and I'm just going to click to import the data. I downloaded a sample spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet from the internet. So I just wanted to show how you can take an Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Google Sheet to import the data. Okay, so here is my sample spreadsheet. And I'm going to go ahead and put a title here. Okay. And you always want to make sure that you have titles up here to each column, because otherwise, typically your Google Sheets, anything Google is going to be meant for sharing. So whenever someone else is looking at this, you definitely want them to understand what the numbers are, what the information is that you have at the bottom. So you need to have titles for everything. Because Google Sheets is something that a collective group can work on the same budget together. By, like any other Google app, sharing up here to anyone that you want to share this with, whether they can just look at it or edit it. All of that is, you can adjust that to each individual person that you share it with. So one nice thing with Google is anytime you take some numbers that you want to just really quickly get the sum to make sure you're headed in the right direction. You're like, okay, I have to keep this under a certain amount. I have to keep this under 150. Let me see how far I've gotten so far. Whenever you highlight numbers, down here at the bottom right corner, it'll automatically show you the sum. You don't have to put in any kind of function. It'll just come up at the bottom, the sum. So that's one nice feature. Whenever you're just wanting to really quickly see what the total is, there it is right there of these numbers. There it is. So another really visual aspect of Google Sheets is you can create a heat map really easily, really quickly. So we can come over here And let's say we want to highlight these numbers. And let's say we want to get a heat map of these numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight them. And then we're going to come to Format. And then we're going to go to Conditional Formatting. And then the conditional formatting will come up here on the side, all your options. Click on Color Scale. And the best thing to do is to have your, is to go from light to dark. So if you're going to want your smaller numbers to be a lighter color, and you're going to want your larger numbers to be a darker color. And for the midpoint, we're going to set it at percent, halfway in between. That's the best way to do it. So click on Done. So now with these numbers, we have a heat map where our bigger numbers are going to be darker. So the smaller the number in this group, the whiter it is, and the bigger the number, the darker it gets. That way we can just easily find those larger numbers. So when you're sharing a lot of data with other people, that's one really good thing to do. So that way they can immediately just see if they're wanting to pinpoint where, you know, a lot of the money is going. This is a really easy way for them to see that. So I have here on the side, I went ahead and added projected months. And so what you can do is you can look at if, let's say you had gross sales for 3 months, or you have to have three columns of data to be able, at least 3 columns, to be able to create a prediction of what's going to happen in the future. This doesn't really make sense with the way it is here. Let me go ahead and widen that. Okay, so because you're looking at manufacturing price, sales price, and then the gross sale. But just to show how to do this, if you were wanting to combine all this information, like let's say this was the first month, the second month, the third month, and then you're wanting to say, what are the next 3 months going to look like? We can do a projected growth. So I'm going to click here on this space, and I'm going to put in a little formula, which will just be equals growth. And then in the quotations, what we're going to do is we're going to put, this is going to be E2. This is E2, F2, G2. So we're going to put in there, no, we're going to put E2 and then colon G2. So basically from E2 to E2, and there we go. So the projected growth is, it filled it in for the next three months. Based on what it did for these, we're pretending these are months for these first 3 months. This is what it would do for the next 3 months. So, so that's a way to just kind of predict based on the habits that you've seen and what has been happening. You can kind of get an idea of what could happen in the future. And we can come up here to help at any time and come to the keyboard shortcuts. And here, if you're wanting to do something, you're wanting to fill in, you're wanting to number, you're wanting to change something really quickly, anything that you want to do, you can look it up here And you can find what it is you're looking for really easily, and then you find your shortcut for it. So Google Sheets makes it very simple to help you out. You don't have to take a class in this to learn how to do something. You just might play with it a little bit, look it up, and get that figured out. And another way to do this is the Explore button down here at the bottom right corner. And the Explore button, if you have a question, if you're wondering how to do something, all you have to do is pop that question into here, and it will tell you how to do something. It's also going to make suggestions. It has some charts that it made. I have a lot of information here. Okay. So we want to put that in here. We can just do that. Let's see. There we go. So we can, it makes that for you right there in the Explore button. Based on the data that you have, you can add these or remove them, whatever you want to do with them, not use them at all. It's up to you, but they create that for you right there. So it makes it really simple for you to have a well put together sheet. And so another thing you can do is filter your expenses or your categories. So you can create a filter. So let's say we want to click on column B here. And then, so I'm going to highlight that. And then I'm going to come up here to data. And then I'm going to go to filter views. We're going to create a new filter. So we're going to name this filter. This is just a different way to look at it. All of your information will be saved, will still appear the same to anyone else unless they look at it through a filter. If you're thinking, oh, I just you can name it anything. No, I just want to know what's going on with Canada right now. You know, what are they producing? Then that's an easy way. Okay, so you're gonna come to this top right here, this little, it almost looks like a sideways Wi-Fi thing. So you're gonna come there and we're gonna clear all of them and then just select Canada. And then press OK. So now we can just see just what's happening with Canada. And then that's just a way for us to look at that. And then we X that out and we're back to our normal sheet. Now that would be a really good thing to do if you're presenting and you're wanting to pinpoint something as you're talking. You can pull up a filter real quick to point out things. And also to compare something, we can freeze rows. So let's say we're wanting to look at the products here. And so we're going to highlight that column and come up to view and then click on freeze. Say we want the two columns or let's do the 2 rows. So the top 2 rows, which are just product and cover that, whatever it is. But whenever we scroll down, the top 2 rows, 1 and 2, are frozen. So we can say, oh, I want to compare this one right here to this one right here. And so we can freeze them and move them around like that. Um, and um, and that's kind of the basics on everything that you can do when creating a budget. Of course, you can create this from scratch, and give it your own titles, create it how you want it. You can do can create a budget through a template, or just make your own. And there's a lot of really great tools and ways to edit this and adjust it to make it look exactly how you want it and for it to work with you, for you. And that's it.